Hello friends, this is Vishakha Daga coming up with next round of editorial explained. Now, when you think of India, a word generally come to your mind, largest democracy. Yes, indeed, India is one of the largest democracy. However, these states, its democratic integrity is questioned by various reports that include Global State of Democracy report, which says that India is actually backsliding in its democratic credentials. So in this video, we're going to decode it through an editorial which come into Hindu. We will actually understand this phenomena that is happening through this editorial. So let's just understand. But before understanding how much India is performing on the parameters of democracy, we need to understand the fundamentals of democracy itself. So let's just understand the democracy. Now, whenever you think of democracy, the ideas that generally come to your mind is it is government by the people, for the people, of the people. That means people are the one who are actually making rule against monarchy where the king was deciding what should happen, what should not. In democracy, people decide. So this is how it is different. It is not decided by king in here, but instead here people decide what should actually happen for them, for the government. In short, if you actually ask the core principle of it, it is simply as such. If the decision regarding your life is to be taken, if a decision that is going to impact your life is to be taken, either you need to be present on the decision making people, on the decision making table, or your representative, right? Either you directly or your representative indirectly need to be present on the decision making table. Now, per se, I take an ancient example. In ancient society, when the laws were made, like Dhanusmriti, Manusmriti, women were not present on the decision-making table. The low caste was not present. What happened? As a result, most of the laws goes against the women. They discriminate the women. They discriminate the lower caste people. Now, modern society was supposed to be different. They were supposed to form an egalitarian or equalitarian society. Now, what requires is that the people who are going to be impacted need to be on the decision making table. So we want women should be there so that they should not be discriminated. This is the essence of democracy. Now, on the basis of this understanding, you can categorize democracy in two parts, that is direct democracy and indirect democracy. Now, in direct democracy, what happens is if people directly decide whether a law is to be passed or not. Now, example is Switzerland. Now, in Switzerland, if a law is to be made, they will make a draft law, then they will put in public domain, and after that, when if public approves, 50% of the people if vote in favor of legislation, then that particular draft law become law automatically. You don't have to do anything. They put a draft law in the public law and in the public domain, and if 50% of the people approves of it, then that particular draft becomes law automatically. Parliament doesn't have to do much about it. On the other hand, in case of India, it is not people generally. Instead, it is parliament, right? In case of India, it is parliament. Now, parliament have people representative, that is MPs, member of parliament that are elected by people. So here, India is an example of indirect democracy because people elect MP and it is MP who then make law on behalf of people. The law is generally not put in public domain. So this is an example of indirect democracy, which is actually seen in India. Now, once you've understood this, you may actually, now it's easy to understand what this report is trying to actually achieve. Now, report try to actually understand how much of democracy is present in the society. That means how much decision-making power do people have. This is the essence of democracy. More the decision-making power goes to the people, more the democracy sustained. More the power it goes to one person, few people, then anarchy and oligarchy, etc. These kind of system appears. Now, for the efficient working of democracy, if there is a representative government, it checks the parameter on which the government is still representative. Does it have the provision for the participation of the citizen, right? the more the participation of citizen in the decision making, better is the democracy, as I said earlier. Next, there has to be check on government, because if the government check on the government is not there, it may become authoritarian. A tendency seen like majoritarian tendencies is seen there. Example, in case of India, the laws are not being sent to the parliamentary committees. This is an example of how authoritarianism can rise in India. Next is impartial government. You need to know whether the government is partial or not, whether it is favoring capitalists, whether it's particular one particular religion. So it actually assess the government on these parameter, as well as how much of fundamental right are available to the citizen. If the protest is thwarted in country like in Myanmar, now that is not a good example of democracy, right? If the protests are thwarted, that means like their fundamental right to speech and expression is being threatened in India, in that particular country. So these are the parameters on the basis of which the democracy is being measured. Now, Global State of Democracy report actually measures 165 country on the basis of 116 indicator, which can be categorized into 5 categories. So these are the 5 categories based on which this particular report assesses the state of democracy of the 165 countries. Now, who brings this report? These are certain parameters you should know whenever you're actually understanding a report. First of all, who is bringing the report? What does report indicates, and what are the member countries it is assessing? Now here the report is being brought by International Institute of Democracy and Electoral Assistance. So this particular institute, which is an international think tank based in Stockholm. This is an international think tank which is based in Stockholm. This brings this report. This is not brought by any UN international agency. So keep this thing in mind. Now, once you've understood this, let's discuss the finding of the report. Findings of the report says that many countries are backsliding, and the biggest backslider are India, Brazil, and US. US, especially after the Trump. Brazil has specific head of the state which is criticized every day, and India also has become a backsliding, a back on the democratic fund. It says overall globally there has been rise of the authoritarian tendency since 2016. So this pattern is seen all over the world. There is a rise of authoritarianism. The peak was seen in 2020 lockdown. Like China actually imposed an authoritarian lockdown in the entire country. In India, it also happened. And during that lockdown, even surveillance was at peak. The reports were seen in Israel and many other nations as well. So COVID lockdown caused a lot of threat to the democracy. Now, report says that currently only 59% of the 59% countries do have actually democratic signature. The 70% population are either living in non-democratic country or partially democratic country. That means one way or other the democracy is threatened in these in these nations. So this is a finding of the report globally. Now let's come to it discuss the factors as well. What is leading to the rising, like decreasing standards of democracy in these nations? It says one of the biggest reason is the populist policies. In name of populism, the government is actually imposing authoritarianism. They are saying to save the people, we need to impose this law, like lockdown. They say they are trying to save the people. They're trying to give as much as food to the people as they can. And but in the background, they're actually using authoritarian tendencies. Now, next is it says a political polarization is happening. People are divided on the based on religion, on the basis of political commitment, and this divide is being used by the leaders to use the authoritarian tendency, because they say they're acting against such minorities. They may threaten the integrity of the nation. Now, this is giving them upper hand to use such kind of misinformation. Again, in economic crisis is the next reason, because in tendency, whenever economic crisis is there, people tend to panic, and in the panic they rarely care for their right and more for the existence. Now this is where any leader actually uses opportunity to come up with the authoritarian tendencies. So this is being seen in all over the world. Next is the report comes to the India. It says that most in India the most democratic violation was seen during lockdown and from 2016 to 2020. However, report also says it was during this period that most activism was also seen. And if you remember the example, farmers' law was one of the biggest activism seen around the world. Even Rihanna actually talked about it. Similarly, CAA was in news all over the world. But and one another positive aspect that report bring is that there may be actually threatened aspect of democracy, but procedural democracy in India is remarkable resilience. That means yeah, there have been lesser chances, or the integrity, the way which the election is conducted in India is still in a good shape. So integrity is not questioned how the elections are conducted. Though people keep asking question, but so far people have faith in the election and it is conducted fairly. So this is a good aspect of the report. Next is it says where does India's democratic credential are being questioned. It says the front number one is religious freedom. Now we have seen the religious tolerance is rising in India to the extent India comes in the category of country with the lowest religious freedom along with Sri Lanka and Indonesia. Report also says that representativeness is falling in India. Along with that, there is a fall of media integrity. Now you know the status of media in India. Their integrity, their openness, transparency, and even fairness is actually fairly questioned all around the world. So media integrity is very well questioned in India. Along with that, executive aggrandizement was also seen. That means executive is actually controlling most of the power, and we were supposed, it was expected the power of the executive will be coming down in order to decentralize the power to the people. However, various amendments have given the more power to the executive, like RTI was supposed to bring transparency. It was supposed to bring accountability of the executive who is actually responsible for the public service delivery. However, the recent changes in RTI is actually the increasing power of the executive. So this is being actually discussed in the report. Overall, the editorial says कि it is not just global state of democracy report which says that India's credentials in the democracy are going down. It also says there are other reports as well. Like Sweden's We Democratic Institute, which says India has come to the category of electoral autocracy. That means whosoever is winning election, then forget the concern of the people and they run the country according to their own whims and fancies. Now, example is seen during farmers' law. Farmers were protesting for a long time, but for the long time the government was not willing to listen. And it was only during the election in the state that government realized that they need to listen to the farmer. So election is determining actually, not the concern of the people much. Next is Freedom House listed India as a partly free because of the many restriction import or imposed on the various media houses like NDTV, etc. So these things are actually questioned in here. Now, this was understanding the status of democracy in India, which is being questioned all around the world. I hope this video helps you in writing the answer regarding the democracy. Now, if that is the case, you can like and subscribe the video. If not, then put your doubts in the comment section. Thank you so much.
Current Affairs by Forum IAS is an all-in-one program that covers the dynamic aspect of the syllabus from both prelims and mains perspective. Last year, we have helped more than 100 students crack IAS with our current affairs classes.